And welcome into the Bulldog Blitz. I'm Gary Mathangani, joined in by the head coach of the Anniston Bulldogs, Eddie Bullock. This is the Week 6 edition, but the Bulldogs had an open week last week, so we're talking about Game 5, Week 6 of the football season. A tough loss to Springville on homecoming, 13-12. We'll dive into some of the game earlier, but let's talk about the week and how everything went, having that extra week, something that you weren't used to, something that you hadn't had before.
Well, the week was pretty good, as far as being able to rest some guys and take care of some nicks and bruises that we had. But, coming back into homecoming off of that bye week was kind of a task, with distractions and all, homecoming activities and also, we had a lot trying to keep the kids focused on, what we needed to do.
Talk about Springville, just the way they looked, on film compared to the way they looked, on Friday night, and then how your team kind of fared and the way everything kind of played out for you guys, first half and second half.
Well, basically what we saw on film was what we expected, and they pretty much played like they did on film. They were a little bit quick as far as getting down here defensively, and when we looked at them, they were pretty stingy on defense as far as, maintaining gap integrity and doing assignments. And, when I watched them earlier against Talladega, we didn't think that they would, be that sound. But they're a pretty sound football team defensively. So, they kind of caused problems for us.
The record in the region is 1-3, but everything is still ahead of you as far as, being able to, make it to the playoffs and all the goals and aspirations that you have at the beginning of the season. They're still available, right?
Right. We still have a great opportunity to get in the playoffs. Of course, we have to win out and basically, just take care of business, which is very attainable for us to do, but we have to make sure that we focus on those 3 games. This game right here could have kind of made it a little bit easier for us to get in the playoffs, but, with us losing that game, we still can get in the playoffs, but basically we have to win out to get in.
So is that the mindset of the team, or is it still, obviously you want to take it, 1 week at a time, even at the beginning of the season, and even if you're, undefeated or with no losses, but is the mindset now just continue to have hope in what we can do, but focus on the moment?
Right. You always want to take it a game at a time because you can easily lose focus when you take one team lightly and, you're looking down the road. And that's what I try to teach my guys is to basically just, stay focused on the game that's at hand, and everything else will fall in place. Just win one game at a time.
This Class 5A Region 6, a lot of these teams were new to you at the beginning of the season. Springville was one of those teams. Moody next week is another one of those teams that, just this teams in this area just haven't seen those teams here recently. Now that you have this body of work and you've kind of seen one team or another on film and whatnot, is this league as strong as it looks from the outside? Because it looks really, really strong.
Well, it can be deceiving because, if you look at all the records of the team last year, that'll give you one picture. You had a lot of mixed records in. You had a lot of teams that, were 3 and 4 and made the playoffs, and it's kind of similar to that right now. And, that's what's so deceiving about it. The records are not indicative of how well a team can play. And, anybody can beat anybody on a given night right now. I think Mortimer Jordan stands out ahead of everybody else. And, of course, Lincoln is up there. And then everybody else kind of falls right there in the mid-range. And, each team is beatable. You just got to take your A game out there.
Absolutely. We'll see how the Anniston Bulldogs fared against Springville. Coming up with first half highlights right here on the Bulldog Blitz. Join us. And we're back here on the Bulldog Blitz, taking a look at first half highlights of the homecoming game, Anniston and Springville. Coach talked about how homecoming can provide a lot of distractions. Talk about the team's mindset heading into it.
Well, we just try to keep everybody positive, and of course, we did have some distractions, but right here, you see them kick the football off, and we got pretty good coverage. That was something that we worked on during the week, is maintaining coverage. And right here, they had number 5 in the backfield, when we scouted him, number 15 was the quarterback, but we noticed that he wasn't dressing out. So we kind of figured they was going to do a lot of wildcat things with number 5, you know, pretty fast and good runner. So we wanted to try to keep him in the box, and we did a pretty good job at that because we made him change that pretty much in a hurry. So we just wanted to come out and make sure we gave ourselves opportunity, and right there they ran a little counter play, and we had a new defensive end, Davion Tippins, on the right side. His first year playing football, and he kind of got upfield a little bit, and they cut underneath him, and we got a sophomore linebacker on the same side. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that's kind of, we have to kind of cover them up, but, you know, we were able to pretty much get them and kind of stall the drive. And right here, of course, you see number 5 taking the direct snaps right here, and we were able to bottle them up, and they did a good job at that as far as swarming that. Right here, you seen him roll out to the right, and of course, we went in, and Dash Sturkey had him sacked there, and instead of wrapping him up, he kind of slung him around, and the quarterback still threw it, and we came up with an interception. So that was a pretty great goal line stand right there. And offensively, we could never get going because we were missing a lot of blocking assignments. You know, they kept looping the Mike linebacker, and we had to punt it right there. You can see we fumbled the football on the punt right there. We had DeQuan Ross, his first year playing football, and he fumbled the snap, and that kind of put us in a situation there. You gave him good field position, and you know, he ended the quarter, and you know, we were still playing pretty good. You know, defensive ends, we were holding them in, and they went for field goal right there, and we were able to hold them out there. So, you know, that was a win for us right there. And then we ended up going 3 downs and out and had to punt the football. And right here, we got pretty decent coverage again on the punts. Like I said, we've been working on that, and they came back with the counter here, and inside linebacker counter just shot out his gap, and the running back was able to cut it back, and they kind of gassed us right here on 2 big plays and got it down inside the 5, and quarterback sneaked up the middle, and you know, he was able to score right here. So I believe that was the first score right there, and we came back, and you know, we were moving the football, and you know, Dobbins ran a quarterback draw right there, and we got pretty decent yardage on this. And right here, we had a go route, and that's Anthony Hutchinson, and he just went up and got the football, made a great catch, great receiver, good kid, and you know, we need to go to him a little bit more, but he's kind of quiet, and he was actually able to tie the score up right there, and we came back, and we made them change quarterbacks right there. They put number 14 in, and of course, again, they ran the counter, ran the inside zone, and we had them boxed in right here, but on this particular drive, we jumped off sides 3 times to sustain the drive for them. So, you know, they ended up punching it in with 1:34 left to go in the game, and first half, and they kicked off to us, and we got a pretty decent run right here, and that's something we've been working on with DeMonte Mills. You know, he tends to run sideways sometimes, and we told him every time he stick his foot in the ground and cut it up, we get good positive yards. And right here, we were moving the football. You know, we threw a little bubble screen right there to Jay Brown. He made a great catch on that pass, and you know, right here, Dobbins working inside the zone, and we throw a ball right there to DeMonte Mill, and we actually pick up the first down right there, and we ran a couple of more plays, and time expired on us, so we ended up going in at halftime down 13-6.
There you see the halftime score over at Lawton Mosby Memorial Stadium, and Coach, we always talk about, you know, in the first half if things looked a little bit different. What adjustments did you feel like you need to make, or you had to make, or do you have to make any at all? It seemed like outside of some of the big plays, and then you said you're shooting yourself in the foot a lot of times too with letting drives go. Is it more, let's just play more sound football and continue to play well?
Basically, that's what we wanted to do. We all year we probably jumped off sides, I believe, one time in like the first 4 games. And in this particular game, we jumped off sides a total of 6 times. And each time we jumped off sides, it was 4th down and gave them the first down. You know, it was 4th and less than 5 and gave them the first down. And we just kind of hurt ourselves. So it was no major adjustments that we had to make. You know, the only thing we noticed about them is that they really didn't throw the ball well. So instead of us going more to the spread defense, we just loaded the box and went to a 50 front on them.
And also, you were able to get some pretty solid yards in the passing game as well. I know a lot of times you obviously want to establish the run, but like you were talking about with Hutchinson and good throwing downfield from Quinn Dobbins, you were able to get a lot of explosive plays in the passing game. Right.
They had pretty good gap integrity, and I have all my running backs, sophomores, a couple of juniors, and they just wasn't hitting it in the gaps as hard as we wanted them to, and so basically we had to spread them out, and we felt like the mismatches would come if we threw the ball in the slot or we started throwing the ball vertical. So we wanted to get it downfield, and we knew they were going to key on DeMonte Miller, so we had to get Glenn in the mix of things, and he did an extremely good job.
Absolutely. Coming up next is second half highlights of Anniston and Springville. We'll jump into that. Also at halftime, no band performance. They were over helping usher in this year's homecoming queen. Here's the homecoming festivities from Lock Mosby Memorial Stadium. Back with more of the Bulldog Blitz after the break. Welcome back to the Bulldog Blitz over at Lock Mosby Memorial Stadium homecoming night. Anniston taking on Springville. Coach is looking at second half highlights here. Let's talk about some of the things you wanted to see coming out of the gate here in the third quarter. It wasn't a high scoring quarter at all.
Well, we wanted to try to establish the run game, and right there you see the first play from the line of scrimmage. We ran the zone read, got a first down on it, and we came right back and ran the zone read again, and we gave them the option to run it if they dropped back deep in the zones. And of course, we got pretty decent yards. We tried to get L.J. Hurd on the outside right there with the outside zone read, and he actually ran into his own man. And of course, we hit Hakeem Ross right there. His first year playing, you can see he's a pretty explosive player. Now he's playing with a broken hand too. We got a cast on his hand wrapped up, and he was still able to be effective catching the football. And right there, you see Davion Tippins again, because of his speed, he was able to get a good outside rush on their quarterback. They had a former snap for the punt, and he was able to get on them. Now, right here, this was one of the few passes that they were able to complete on us, and that was because we dropped too far back in the zone. I think they had another seam route, but you see once again Davion Tippins coming off the edge, and he getting tremendous pressure on him, and that's the seam route right there. They were able to hit number 5 in it, and I think those were the longest 2 completions that they had on us. But we were pretty stingy with the pass rush, and of course you can see us right here. We're in what we call our 33 nose defense, and which is a 50 front, and it was 4th down, and we forced them to 4 and out, and right here we decided to go back to the air, and of course you see Glenn Hutchinson again makes a great catch to keep us alive. It was 4th down, and he just went up and fought for the ball, and we took a couple of shots here with Dobbins on the move, and he made a smart decision. He got out of bounds to help preserve the clock. And we came back here, and same play we threw on the other side. We decided to go back to the left side to DeMonte Miller here, and he goes up and just beat number 5 and wins the battle. And you see right here, he just steps up, and they one-on-one, and he just goes up and takes the football, and he can make those counter plays. And, we pretty much was in the game right here. And we came back to go for 2. And on this particular 2-point conversion, we had a lot of factors that, played into it. And one of the things was Dobbins took a shot in his knee, and he was unable to kick it. So, we had to do something else. And of course, right here, we thought we had that football there. The center snapped it, and we were able to create a fumble at the line of scrimmage. And we didn't get a flag or anything, but, they called us offside. So, the game ended up, with Springville taking out. They went to the shotgun and took the snap, and I almost had a high snap at the end, and, and won the game. But, I was pleased with the effort. We didn't quit.
Yeah, talk about the end of the game. We didn't get a chance to see the 2-point conversion there, but talk about just the decision that went into that and then some part of the execution of that.
Well, what happened earlier, Quintavious took a shot to the knee, And when we scored earlier, he was unable to kick the PAT, so I had to put my B team kicker in. And first year playing football, Taiwan Avid, and he was nervous, and he got in, and it was almost like he fell backwards. He told me on the side he saw the rush coming, and he just got nervous, and he missed it wide right. And so when we scored the second time, Dobbins was still kind of limping on his knee. So I knew I couldn't put the B team kicker in, and I knew that Dobbins was unable to kick. So, at that point, it was no question. I was going for 2.
Right.
But I was, deliberating on whether or not I wanted to line up on the center and go for 2, or whether I wanted to go out of swinging gate. And, we got 6 plays that we run out of it, and one of them is a pass play where DeMonte Miller dropped straight back.
Right.
And he got 4 options, and the outside receiver should get on the numbers and do a hook route and come in, and Dobbins do a little shoot route to the corner. And if you had it on film, you would see Dobbins was wide open, but DeMonte rolled to the right. We got the pressure we wanted to get, and all he had to do was lob it over the top to Quintavious, and he'd have walked in the end zone. But he kind of drifted, and the receiver didn't get the proper spacing on his, so number 28 for them made a great play. He came off the outside receiver and just batted the football down, and that kind of preserved a 1-point lead for them, So it was a great play on his part.
Absolutely, and it's one of those situations where it seems to me that in that situation, you have to go for 2 kind of situation.
Well, you had
under the circumstances.
Well, you had to, because it was no way. Dobbins, when he got hit in the knee, I had to get him checked on the sideline. The doctor actually was over there checking him, so when we kicked the football off, I had to use the B-team kicker to kick it off, because the doctor was checking his ACL and making sure everything was, pretty good on him. And, it was just a no-brainer. I mean, we had to go for 2, because if we do anything else, and I didn't want to kill the confidence of my B-team kicker and just throw him back in the fire again. So, if I had to do it again, I'd make the same decision. You got to make it in the heat of the moment, and that's what we decided. And unfortunately, it didn't work for us.
Talk about some players that we might not have seen on the film that had pretty good games, pretty good performances, and things they can build on heading into next week. Okay,
well, we got some pretty good play out of the safety. Tyquez, my nephew, he played well at safety, and of course, Davion Tippins. Played basketball the last 2 years, and it's his first year playing, and we got him out of defensive end, and he did a tremendous job, to not ever played football before, and a lot of speed, and he can create a lot of problems for guys. And then, of course, like I said, Hakeem Ross, he came back, he got his left hand broken, and he was cast up. We had him padded up, and it was a question mark as to whether or not he would play. And, and then, of course, Glenn Hutchinson, he came through for us. And, we just got some good play out of a lot of guys. We just defensively, with some of the mistakes that we typically don't make, we made them, and one of them was not watching the football, jumping off sides,
Absolutely. Well, we'll break down the way that program goes from here. Obviously, heading into game number 6 in week 7, another big region game against Moody. We'll talk about that next here on the Bulldog Blitz. And we're back with the Bulldog Blitz. Anniston had an off week last week, so we'll refer to this upcoming game as week number 7. Game number 6, though, for the Anniston Bulldogs. And Coach, you talk about a team in Moody. They come in 3-3 on the season, 3-1 in the region. They also have played teams in this area like Welborn. They played in their off week, and they lost to Welborn. Talk about some of the things like we talked about earlier. Moody's one of those teams you don't know very well heading into the season because you don't really have all that much common opponents and stuff like that until this year.
Well, Moody pretty much is a team that's similar to Springville and similar to Hayden, same kind of style, a few different athletes. They got a pretty good receiver on the outside, about 6'2", 6'3", and has a very smart quarterback. And then they got an excellent running back that's pretty fast. I believe a young man runs like a 4.40 or something like that. So a little bit faster and, just probably the same style team as a Springville, but, maybe just a little bit more speed and, we basically just got to prepare like we did for Springville and, just a little bit quicker.
Is there any added, motivation, added focus to know that, hey, you never want to call any game a must-win game, and they talk about this in college at the same time too. You don't want to call any game a must-win game, but is there like heightened intensity when it comes to this kind of game?
Well, we just look at it like, we need to win the game in order to attain our goal, and it's just part of it. We had a goal set to pretty much win the last 4 region games, and we didn't win last Friday, but, that does not stop us from attaining the goal of going to the playoffs. And, I guess you can call it a must-win game, but we need to win the game, but we're not putting pressure on ourselves to go out and say that if we don't win, that ends the season. We're going to go out and play hard and prepare, and, I think we'll be ready for the game.
One of the things that we talked about at the beginning of the season was the experience factor of this team and of this season. And we've heard a lot of times, this is the first time he's played football. This is the first time he's played football. And it's one of those, there's certain times you cannot teach things at Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. They have to go see it for themselves on Friday. Talk about that element of it as these guys try to get more experience under them, more confidence under them as they start to play more and more games.
Well, that only comes with the experience with playing, and of course, that only other way you can do it is how well your kids learn and how much film they watch. And that's something that I'm trying to increase with them, is watching game film, actually watching footage of the other team and learning tendencies without the coach telling you that, and we got a few of them that does a really, really good job at doing that, but we still got some that, they tend not to, you got to twist their arm a little bit to get them to watch film, and that's part of being a kid and really understanding that, I guess the complicity of the game, trying to, scout your opponent and all. And it's just, we trying to get the more we can get them involved into doing it, the better off, and the quicker that learning curve will close up, that gap will close up. But it's like anything else, experience is the best teacher.
We also talk, about the way this team has improved from week 1 over here now to the last part of game 5. Talk about some of the things that you can really see on film that, hey, this team's actually gotten better in this certain aspect of the game.
Well, one thing we wanted to do is close down the gaps with points. And anytime you can hold teams at a certain amount of points, that your defense is getting better. And we held them to 13 points. So, we knew we had a chance to win the football game, and like I said, that could have easily been 12-0. And we knew that the defense improved, so I was proud of them. We kind of simplified a lot of things, and we even simplified them on offense. Basically, this is what we're going to do, and you stop it, and, this is what we're going to do on defense, and what we're going to do, and we just going to outplay you.
Let's take a look at the big picture now in the Class 5A Region 6 standings. You never want to look ahead and you never want to look behind, but at the same time, the 2 of the 3 teams you play in the region are right in front of you, Moody and Alexandria. And we talk about how if you win out, you have a great shot at doing exactly what you want to do at the beginning of the season. So talk about the region. You've probably now seen every team, at least on film, play another team as well. And
that's the beauty right there. That's the beauty of the whole thing, is looking and seeing that the next 3 teams that you play, 2 of the next 3 teams that you play are, in the 3rd and 4th spot. So if you win those games, you only going to move up. And then, of course, we play St. Clair County, which is another tough game. That record is nowhere indicative of that team's, talent level. So basically, if we can win out with those games, we give ourselves a chance. So we just have to play. Yeah. We just have to play.
Right. And we talked about how, even a team like Hayden, is really competitive in this region as well. And you talk about Mortimer Jordan being one of the top teams in the region. And there's not a ton of difference between the 2. There's just different schemes, different ways they play, but not necessarily a ton of difference.
Well, if you look back at the games and, some people say it's not good to compare, but I look at the Moody-Springville game. Moody, I believe, beat Springville 24-21, and I think Springville was leading that game. So that could have easily been a win for Springville. And, of course, when you look at the Springville-Alexandria game, Springville was leading Alexandria 6-3, and Alexandria ended up winning that game. I believe it was 9-6. So, those games could have went either way for Springville. So, demonstrates that record is not indicative of it. And I believe that. I truly believe that you know, those are good teams, but
right.
you know, we have just as good a chance at beating them as they have at beating us. You know, it all boils down to which team execute and focus the best on that given night. So, you know, I'm hoping that our guys, you know, come out and be focused, and they understand that, you know, we do have a legitimate shot at, you know, finishing third or fourth in the region.
Absolutely. Hope is still high with the Anniston Bulldogs, and we will break down next week's game against Moody right here on the Bulldog Blitz. Join us next week. Good luck to the Anniston Bulldogs against Moody next week.